Hey everybody, I wanted to spend just a few minutes, sorry for all the clatter and clamor here. I'm actually flying today and just wanted to take a quick minute and share a couple thoughts with you, just because we're all so heavily engaged in work of integration and inclusion with a whole bunch of our interns. And so it's been thrilling to see how well that's been going. I hope you all have had some great experiences in doing that. But I thought I'd leave a quick little video just to touch on a couple tactical ways we can get better and better at this. And maybe even describe a little bit more about what we're talking about when we talk about inclusion. When we talk about equality and equity and diversity, but sometimes we don't talk a lot about the inclusion side. So I wanted to leave a couple notes with you on that, and then give you a couple of activity ideas that you could take on that would help you feel more confident in playing your part in inclusion. The first thing is, what are we talking about with inclusion? And what we're talking about when we think about inclusion with team members or peer-to-peer or other departments, what have you, we're talking about the internal innate desire that all of us have, you, me, and even our interns from Jamaica, to connect and belong. So connect with their new team members, you connect with your current team members, and have a sense that you belong on that team, whether it's a front desk team or a dining service team, that you're part of it. You're not a visitor, you're not a new person, but that you're part of that team. All right, and you know the difference when you feel that way and when you feel like an outsider, when you feel like everybody's kind of waiting to see if you can earn your spot in, or if we can overcome your differences and still let you be a part, right? And so really the advanced version of this is helping those folks feel safe enough to be themselves, right? Accepted for who they are and accepted for who you are. Including all of your unique features, all your unique attributes and defining characteristics that are different from one person to another. We all have them, and sometimes we focus on those things being different and weird, and instead inclusion allows us to realize those differences and celebrate them as an important part of being a human being, that we're not alike, and that's okay. So with that in mind, most of us would say, I act that way. I'm an inclusion focused person. I believe in inclusion, and I believe that to be true. But what happens is, what we have in our mind doesn't often all the time come out in our actions. And so we get surprised. Somebody says, I didn't feel like part of the team, I'm leaving. And we're like, well, you were part of the team. I thought I was making you feel welcome. And we just realized our behaviors didn't demonstrate that quite bold enough. So I wanted to give you some practices real quick that you can actually do. Inclusion takes behavior, all right? Not thinking, it takes action. So I wanted to give those to you. You could write these down. You can watch this video over and over if you want, but I bet I'm going to give you a list where at least one of those things you'll feel like you can do, you'll feel confident and capable of doing, and it'll be an action thing, a behavior that you'll need to do, okay? The first one is what I call listen and pause. Listen and pause means that when you're talking to an intern and they're sharing something with them, you're listening, you're not talking, and when they're done, even if they ask you a question, that you would pause right then. Don't answer right away, pause. And in that pause, you're communicating that what they were saying was so important, you want to wait to talk while you think about that and ponder. It's a really great nonverbal skill to pass on to somebody, just to send the message, I care about you and what you have to say is really important. All right. Another thing you can focus on is asking twice as much as what you tell. All right. Now that's just an estimate. That's like, all right, 2 times as much. How do you do that? You just have to be self-aware and say, am I rambling on and on with my story, or am I asking twice as many questions as I am telling people, right? One way I like to do this is try to ask 3 questions in a row, all right? 3 questions in a row will help you keep yourself from taking over the conversation, because what do you have to do after you ask a question? You have to be quiet and listen. So if you work on that, that just sends the message as well. I care about what you have to say. I'm interested to learn about you. And asking twice as much as what you tell is a great way to do that, all right? Number 3, move to mutual discovery quickly. What is mutual discovery? You're rambling on, getting to know somebody, and you're looking for common threads, something that you share with them. And we want to keep going until we find one thing. And once we find that thing, we want to celebrate what that is so that they feel there's at least something that we share. All right? You're going to have fun with this, and sometimes it might take longer than you would like, but all of us are human, and there's going to be something that you share with somebody. You have to get creative and ask a lot of questions, but move to mutual discovery quickly. All right? Again, another action item, not something that stays up in your head. During the time we have interns, especially during the first few weeks, we're trying to get them trained, we're talking to them, we're orientating to them. And there's a couple things you can do that really make a difference. And the first one is follow through on small commitments. Any kind of little tiny small commitment you make with an intern, make it a very high priority to follow through on it. It could just be meaning saying, hey, I'll meet you at the front door tomorrow when you come to work, right? Or I'll be here for sure before you come so that you don't get lost or displaced. Don't screw that up, right? We got to make good on our small commitments. Make good on our small commitments. Right? It's so important. It's so meaningful to an intern that we're trying to assimilate in and make them feel part of the team, make them feel included. Wow, they care enough about me. Even the little tiny stuff they're willing to do for me, right? And the second one you can do is asking about needs and challenges. Just use that as your default question. Hey, is there something you need? Is there something that was confusing today? Is there something you're confused about? Is there, some question you have that you haven't been able to ask? Be forward with those questions. Just ask them. Just say those words, all right? That lets them know that you care about them. You don't want them to be confused. You don't want them to be in a quandary. You want them to feel peaceful, comfortable, and feel like they know what's going on, all right? You know they don't, so we might as well ask and clear it up for them, all right? You have the answer, or else you'll find somebody that has the answer. So help with that, all right? So those things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, all right? You can write those down. Listen again. It's only about 7.5-minute video. Write them down. Put them on a sticky note. Put them at your workstation. And remember, inclusion is things we do, not things we think, okay? And you can do this. This next week, let's see if we can take our inclusion metric to a new high with all of our interns that we have. We have some more coming very soon, so let's get a practice weekend this next week, and I'm certain that by our time our next group comes, you'll be really well schooled in it. All right, look forward to that. If you have questions, let me know, and I'll see you very soon.